I'm here at the Profiles International World Conference in Fort Worth, Texas, and I have with me Jeff Summers, who I met this morning. Actually, he was giving a session with his wife, Deborah, and congratulations,
Thank you,
Jeff.
Stephen.
You did a great session, by the
Thank
way,
you.
and caught my attention, so I asked Jeff to do this little interview. And Jeff and his wife are the top performers this year of Profiles International, and which means that you're great salespeople. So congratulations
Thank you very
on
much.
that.
Thank you.
And Jeff you were talking about something great this morning, which really caught my attention, and it was about the 30-second elevator speech or infomercial, which, as a salesperson and any salesperson listening to this knows what we're talking about. It's when you're at an event, whether it's an event like this or a networking event, and you're there to meet people, introduce yourself, explain what you do, and hopefully get their attention to say, hey, I could use what you offer. But we often don't do it very effectively. And I thought your approach was really great, and I'd like you to maybe explain what that approach is and give an example of how you use it.
Thank you. I'm going to steal a little thunder. My wife and I work with a financial planner who we think is at the top of his game, and he's been doing it for 35 years. And he has taken a very technical, detailed kind of world of financial planning, and whenever we get with them and we leave the meeting, he can take it in and paint pictures with it, and we walk away and we understand what's going on. And we had a meeting with him about a week ago, and he shared some information, and it was very high level information. And again, we walked away and he painted a great picture. And in the end, I said, Don, you do such a good job. And he said, about 35 years ago, his mentor in the industry, financial planning, said, Don, if they don't buy the concept, the details don't matter. And, slept on it and woke up the next morning and called him up. I said, Don, you know what, I'm getting ready to go to a conference, and I think I know where you're at with that. I think I even do that. Can you explain a little bit more? And he said, so many people, and I'll go back to your 30-second, we want to share information, we want to dump information, features, benefits, and it's almost like we go from hurdle 1 to hurdle 3 with missing hurdle 2, and they don't get it. It's details. So with what I do, and I know everybody's sales are different, but when I meet someone at a networking meeting, I always want to know first and foremost what they do. And knowing what I do in my product, I know big picture stuff, I know concept, I know details, I know it from all different levels of sales understanding. So what I know, once I know what the individual does, I then try to just take enough information to make sure they walk away with the concept. At that location and that time and place is not a time to do discovery and feature benefit.
Of course.
All I'm doing in that 30 seconds is really trying to understand what they do and give them in 30, 40 seconds an understanding of the concept. Because really what we're doing is trying to leverage another appointment down the road with them.
Of course. Now, you gave a great example this morning. I'd like you to share that with me. And you spoke about the way you did it before you learned this approach and the way you do it now. And you're selling, as a profile strategic business partner,
Great.
You're selling assessment solutions to
Absolutely.
help companies improve how they hire and how
Great
they
question.
develop people. So could you give,
Yes.
how did you do it before and how do you do it now?
Pre-2007.
Right.
So from 1996 to 2007, the old Jeff. And it wasn't the wrong way to do it, but I lived in a world of, what we do, as you mentioned, Stephen, with assessment tools is we help organizations increase productivity, reduce turnover, increase, retention, engagement. And those are all things. So when I would meet someone,
and those are things that almost any consultant says. So
we all
how do you
do
differentiate?
it. It's
right?
not sticky. So that's what I did before. And in 2007, I came across some information that was an eye-opener. And so for that period of time, I was giving them information which was correct, but it was very, very, I'll say, abstract. And people walked away and probably within 10 steps forgot what I did because I never really made it stick.
Right.
So in the world of personality testing, what we do and how I changed it, when I met someone at a function, and if they manage people, my first question is, how many people do you manage? And let's say I met a sales manager with 40 people, and I might say, how many of those are superstars? And I notice them all of a sudden kind of shake their head up, and maybe they said 7 or 8. So mentally they had to go to names and faces of superstars, and then I would say, on the other end, how many people are struggling? Maybe good humans, but maybe miscast for the position. And I watched them, and for a few seconds, they kind of nodded their head to the left, and they came back with 5 or 6. So you have a group of high performers, you have a group of low performers, and then you have a big group that represent the rest, that are your steady performers that add value. And I would say what we do is we have an assessment tool that allows you to understand why your best people are your best people, why your struggling people may be struggling, and now you can utilize that information in the future to hire with, to promote with, to coach and develop. So again, it took something that was very, very abstract in productivity and turnover, which really didn't stick. And now I gave them something that provoked some emotion, because they had to think of high performers and low performers and steady performers. And it was amazing, the reaction to people. They got it. And for some people, they think that's very narrow, but it was very, very specific. It was very simple. And again, it was very concrete.
And so how has this benefited you? What was the impact on your selling when you started to apply this approach?
Well, it enabled me, the ahas came on.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about productivity and you're talking about increase that, and you're mentioning a lot of people, even in your own organization, there's really no aha sticky moments there. But when they think about the ability to say, I've got top performers, I've got some bottom performers and middle performers, you're saying there's something out there that you can tell me in my job, in our culture that I hire for, that we can see what makes our superstars beyond just my gut and my hunch, and we can add science to that process. Now all of a sudden, if you or I are managers and I manage 20 people, and some were top, some were bottom, and some were in the middle, if I use the same process to hire all those people, and some were in this bucket, some were in that bucket, and some were in the middle bucket, it's not that I'm doing everything wrong because some rose to the top. But if somebody came to me and said, I can tell you what makes that group, and that group, a lot of managers in this day and age are willing to listen. So again, I just took it from a level here and just took it and added some concrete, some substance connection with them.
Now, can you do that really in 30 seconds? I mean, it sounds like...
Yeah, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I'm giving you an example of going to a show and knowing someone at a trade show where you have maybe a minute or 2 or 3 minutes that you can do that. But when I meet someone on an elevator, someone
we really only have 30 seconds.
Only have seconds, and they say, well, what do you do? And again, I may want to find out, but in 30 seconds, I would say, Stephen, what we do is we work with organizations. And in any job, there are 3 buckets of performance. There's the superstars, there's the strugglers in the middle. Someone falls, and we've all fallen probably in one of those 3 at some time or another. What we do is when an organization breaks that group down, we look at their superstars, we assess them, we create a model for them to hire with, to coach with. So we're going into any type of organization and identifying what their superstars bring to the table.
That took longer than 30 seconds.
I can do it in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And you mentioned stickiness, and you want your message to stick with them.
Yes.
So they think about it and they remember you. You referred to a book. Maybe just tell us what that book is.
The name of the book is Made to Stick.
Yeah.
Orange book, gray duct tape on the front.
Yeah, I
Very
saw the
unique looking
picture.
book.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I really appreciate you taking the time to do it.
You're welcome,
and,
Stephen.
Congratulations
Thank you
again
very
on your
much.
success.